The weapons Ukraine has received from its Western allies in recent days is following a stronger momentum against Russia. It has been claimed several times that the Ukrainian armed forces, whose superiority in the war is growing day by day, will also receive support from Israel. First of all, the first claims were that Israel's favorite Iron Dome air defense systems would be transferred to Ukraine. This development fell on an agenda like a bomb. But the shipment did not take place. Later, rumors that Spike and Lost missiles and Bayrak 8 air defense systems would be sent to Ukraine by Israel were also cited as an important development. The option of sending Iron Dome to Ukraine is not possible at the moment, and Bayraktar 8 and Spike and Lost have not been found in Ukraine. However, it's been claimed that the Firefly drone produced by Advanced Defense Systems, the makers of Iron Dome, will be sent to Ukraine in recent days. Let's examine the origin of this arms shipments news, the features of the Firefly drone and the Ukrainian-Russia-Israel triangle. Firefly drones developed jointly by the Israeli Ministry of Defense and Advanced Defense Systems are referred to as miniature kamikaze drones. There is a very basic reason why it's called miniature. That is, these drones are only 16 inches tall and weigh an average of 2 kilograms. The weapon also carries a 350-gram warhead. Firefly has a cylindrical shape that makes it easy to transport in warzone. The battles in which Firefly is most effective are infantry battles. Drone is designed to destroy established enemy positions such as snipers and RPGs. Firefly's contribution to infantry units in city conflicts is great. Firefly is controlled by a small tablet and provides instant operator feedback on surveillance operations. If the operator wishes, Firefly can lock onto the target and use its warhead to destroy the target. While Firefly stands out with these features, it also has some weak features. A flight time of 15 minutes puts it far below its counterparts. But the reason for this is to try to make Fireflies miniature. Its design is entirely based on the fact that the enemy does not notice the drone in urban conflicts. At the same time, the Firefly has a narrow range of 500 meters, which stands out as a minus for the drone. But the compensation for these features is that the Firefly has an easily replaceable battery chamber. At the same time, when compared to mobile drones such as Switchblade 300, which is frequently compared to, the Firefly drone has the ability to return to its operator. Designed for tight urban combat, the Firefly is also equipped with sensors to facilitate its movements. Thanks to these sensors, it can be easily stripped not only in cities but also in trees or power lines. Together with this feature, Firefly puts it at the forefront of its counterparts in congested urban conflicts, the country that has experienced such conflicts most recently in Ukraine. After the Switchblade 300 was shipped to Ukraine, the Ukrainian armed forces used this drone many times and carried out many successful operations. However, the Ukrainian armed forces, which has been very successful in destroying tanks, will not want to take advantage of Firefly's highlightings in cities filled with many pillars of the buildings such as Kharkiv, Kherson, Donetsk, and Luhansk. This will put the Ukrainian infantry a step or two ahead of the Russian army. While javelins and loves, TB2s and switchblades are causing nightmares for Putin's army in the field battle right now, Firefly's contribution to the Ukrainian infantry units will be huge. So, can Ukraine reach the Firefly drones is needed? More precisely, would Israel sell these drones to Ukraine? Here's a critical question. 15% of Israel's population immigrated from that region as the Soviet Union collapsed, and there is now a substantial Russian-speaking community in Israel. At the same time, with the developments in the Middle East in recent years, a deep relationship has developed between Israel and Russia. The two countries developed a strong partnership against the rising Iranian terrorist force in Syria. But Israel also has good relations with Ukraine. There is also serious Jewish population in Ukraine. For this reason, Israel had to make an effort to find a middle way between the two countries. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett visited the Kremlin immediately after the invasion, which started on February 24, and met with the Russian President Vladimir Putin for Ukraine. But these talks did not yield any results. In Israel, the public started the pro-Ukrainian protest, and some Israeli organizations openly declared their support for Ukraine. But for the first time, an Israeli diplomat criticized Russia for the first time last week. In fact, even though it was frequently brought up that Israel would help Ukraine after this criticism, this possibility did not materialize. Even if US President Joe Biden put pressure on Israel regarding Ukraine, he could not maintain this pressure due to the relations between Israel and Russia. Israel's balanced policy was justified by the United States. This brought the following questions to mind. Does the US really want to support Ukraine, or is the US just planning a destroyed Russian economy? Considering its unending troubles in the Middle East, Israel will not want to take its place in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. When we look at all the Western states that support Ukraine, there are other countries that have interest in the region. But while Israel must deal with the threat on its own soil, it can only act as a mediator in the war between its two allies. For this reason, the possibility of Firefly drones being delivered to Ukrainian armed forces is negligible.